Hi everyone, this is Chris Stewart here with training footage from July 31st, 2014. Today in training I did snatches with no feet, clean and jerks, snatch pulls, good mornings, and behind the neck presses. So I had a lot of stuff going on in this workout. The Olympic lifts were fairly light. I got to decide how much I wanted to be snatching for my no feet snatches, and I settled on about 65 kilos. I kind of wanted to work on other things besides strength. I wanted to work on getting underneath that bar a little bit quicker and more consistently, and I thought it was a pretty successful session doing that today. One thing I need to remember with doing my snatch pulls is to take a wider stance than I do on my not snatch pulls, snatches with no feet. It's taking a wider stance than I normally do when I'm snatching. So the reason for doing this is because your feet are technically not supposed to be moving positions backwards or forwards, outwards or inwards. While you're doing these snatches with no feet, you'll commonly see my feet sliding a little bit backwards, which is something I think I need to work on. But if you're starting in with a really narrow stance with these snatches with no feet, you're not going to be able to catch the bar. You saw me drop that bar earlier. One of the reasons for that was because I was taking such a narrow stance. But otherwise, these snatches were pretty consistent. Even though you guys can't hear the actual gym footage, the bar sounds really good coming off my hips. I'm getting that desired noise, that little clink of the weights that I kind of listen for when I'm working out. So I was really happy with those. The next things I went on to do were clean and jerks, and these are a whole different story. The cleans were fairly fine today. The jerks really inconsistent. I'm playing around with my foot width on these jerks, so I'm starting to set up a little bit wider than I previously had been doing. You're going to see me take a couple steps outward before I do my jerk, and results on that have been mixed so far. So I have got what I want to get to is the point where I can jerk and not have my weight get pulled forward on that dip and then drive. So if you watch in slow motion my jerks dip and drive, the dip is mostly fine. I can dip straight down, but then when I start driving back up, I'm getting pulled forward and launching that weight in front of me. And that's not what I want to be doing. So one of the reasons for this is my limited ankle mobility right now, which is forcing my drive to be pulled forward. So that's a flexibility issue, and I've been working on that, but that's just going to take time to fix. So I'm going to play around with this widened stance, see if I can get away with a little bit better of a dip and drive on this jerk and not get pulled forward. Today was really mixed results. I wasn't really too impressed with anything or felt like I really had a big epiphany, so I'm just going to keep at it. This is a really wide stance for me, and I'm playing with some really wide stances too to see how it works out, and I mean it wasn't that great of a lift. So next is the snatch pulls. The number one thing I need to remember with snatch pulls is to make sure my butt and my chest are rising at the same time. I have a tendency to let my butt shoot up before my chest gets up, and you lose a lot of your leverage when that happens. So this is 100 kilos. You're seeing here kind of an odd combination of weights, but I was feeling lazy when I was throwing stuff on. I already had 70 on, and I was just like, throw some 15s on and get it done with. But nothing, I mean, otherwise on these snatch pulls, pretty vanilla flavored stuff. I want to be hitting this 100 kilos, so that's kind of why I'm pulling this 100 kilos. It felt really heavy today. Hopefully that isn't the case next time I come to max out though, because this is going to have to be going over my head. So the next thing I did was the behind the neck presses, and there's nothing really cool going on here. I think I worked up to 60 kilos for 5 repetitions. This is to help with shoulder strength. With my jerks recently, I've been getting some rear deltoid soreness going on when I catch when I jerk that bar over my head and I catch it a little farther behind me, specifically my right deltoid, not as much as my left deltoid. I don't know if this has something to do with my lead foot is also getting pulled, or my whole right side of my body is getting torqued slash pulled with my lead foot, and that's causing my rear deltoid to get torqued a little bit, or what. But I'm hoping that when I'm doing these behind the neck presses, it'll help strengthen my rear deltoids, and they'll help strengthen my deltoids in general, and hopefully it can mitigate that uh, inflammation I've been feeling recently back there. Then the last thing I did was some good mornings, and good mornings are really good for me. I like strengthening that posterior chain whenever I can, and this really hits your lower back and your whole hamstrings in general, which for me, I always have really sore hamstrings after good mornings. I don't know if I just don't activate them enough. I must have a fairly quad dominant squat because I don't feel that hamstring burn like I do with good mornings. But that's about all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching.